Hello, welcome everybody to another wonderful Thunderbird live hacking session. As usual, my name is Alex. Welcome. How's everybody doing today? Let me know, where are you connecting from? What time is it in your place and how you doing? I hope you are great. Today here is 11 in the morning. Vancouver is a Thursday, beautiful Thursday morning in Vancouver, Canada. It's hot as hell. We're not used to this kind of heat and I'm sweating so much. So probably I'm gonna remove my hat later on because I'm already sweating a lot. But yeah, let me know how's everybody doing. What's the weather in your region? Is everyone in the northern hemispheres, are we entering summer all together, or someone is still like in the midst of winter? Is it snowing in your place? I shouldn't just like wasting time. As usual, if this is the first time that you're watching this live streaming, I like to keep it chill, keep it very cozy and very easy going. I'm gonna show a bunch of updates, some new things that just landed in Thunderbird in the latest daily release, and then I'm gonna code something new, especially the account setup area. It's almost completed. I'm gonna show you a bunch of next steps of what new things we're gonna implement, and I'm gonna code as well, but it's not gonna be purely coding. I'm gonna code, and meanwhile I'm gonna check the chat and answer all your questions and comments and ban trolls and do all the usual things that someone does during Thunderbird live streaming. Before starting, if you like this channel, if you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends and family, force your family to watch these videos, because what are you gonna talk about anyway when you meet them again after the pandemic? Like, I don't know, what did you do during the pandemic? No, you're gonna talk about Alex's live streaming and all the progress in the Thunderbird development. That's the most important topic that you could have during a Christmas dinner. So yeah. A lot of people in the chat already. Hello, oh, iClone, hello, welcome. Thank you for joining, man. Gobrini says hi, it's 7 p.m. Awesome. iClone is from Germany, 8 in the morning, and good afternoon from New York. Hello, KD2FLZ. And Danny says, not sure, I wanted to know that detail, Alex, that I'm sweating so much underneath the hat. But you should know all these details, man. Like, come on. These are public facts. Alex sweats a lot. I'm just a pool of sweat. I closed the door because my wife is having a meeting in the other room, so I don't want to bother her, but it's so hot. There's no air ventilation whatsoever here, and I am already regretting it. But anyway, let's get started with some cool things that just landed in a Thunderbird in the recent release, I think yesterday. So first of all, fixes, bugs, and all the stuff, but the bug that I was the patch that I was working on for the past 4 weeks, it's finally landed. I updated around like 8,000 lines of code in that single patch, so yeah, it was pretty tough, but I can show you now the situation where we are right now with the account setup. And today we're gonna basically do the last step, finally the last section of the account setup. Right now, after the account setup is completed successfully, the wizard closes, shuts down, and just loads the entire application. We don't want to do that. We want to show a final step with like a welcome message and some other extra thingy that you can do, but this is the new UI here for the account setup. So let's open here. Hello Draman, hey, good to see you. KD asks, does the Proton stuff from Firefox trickle down to Thunderbird? No, they don't. We spent a lot of time. That was one of my main objectives for the past 2 months, to try to mitigate as much as possible the Proton updates of Firefox. because we didn't want to have any problems. So we kept our icons, we kept our tab styling, we kept our density and things. And also, like, Firefox deprecated the density, compact density option. Now it's behind a preference, and they're planning to remove it, but they shouldn't do it. What we did instead, we added and we expose it more. So now you can go into the menu, view density, and you can change to normal, compact, and touch, and you can change the density of everything. So good stuff, good stuff. We're gonna do more and more. We're gonna let the UI be more affected by the density change in the future. Not much right now. We have more other priorities right now, like the account setup hub. Gonna grab a sip of coffee first. Drinking hot liquid during a hot day is the perfect solution to tackle heat, actually. So yeah. Draman, why you retracted the message? You were congratulating on the 90,000 subscribers. Thank you. Yeah, you can write that. It's fine. You don't have to retract. Danny says, I didn't hear the bit about under the hat. It's fine, Danny. You should know I'm sweating everywhere, especially my underwear. Anyway, so this is the new... Let's write something here, the usual blah 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 blah. Thanks for the congratulations on the 90,000. I'm very happy. So continue loading. You see, like, the image here changed just a second, just a tiny bit to show a sloth because we're slow, and then it is updated. The majority of the work that I've been doing in the past 2 weeks, actually 3 weeks, were on the manual configuration area. And the manual configuration area, now we are in a pretty good situation. So first of all, a lot of things are automated, and we are trying to make sure that the important messages in a page are always above the fold and always visible, because yes, I have a large screen and we're stacking everything together, but we have the notification like here in this above area, and then the action buttons here at the bottom. So these two are kind of disconnected. So if the user, for example, retests, we are sure to automatically scroll up in order to make the notification visible, and if the notification is successful, it remains visible. Otherwise, if we are doing something, for example, like in this way, we click continue, the notification will be like the auto configuration is correct. Automatically the page scrolls down to make the final buttons visible and above the fold. See how it just scroll down, so you have the cancel and done button. And I spend a lot of times in being sure that all these things are, it doesn't matter the situation, it doesn't matter the action of the user, important messages, important section are always inside the fold. So we have a lot of these scroll up and down. To do this though, I had to also check for a little thingy called motion reduced, because we have users, of course, that reduce motion reduce. We have some users that unfortunately they're subject to motions and animation, especially if you have episode of epilepsy or you're tricked by it, and motions and transitions, they give you migraine. Those are medical conditions, totally legit. So we have an option that you can disable in the preferences called prefers reduce motion, and we could keep track of that. If the preferred reduce motion is checked, so it's true, we avoid to do the smooth scrolling, and the change is immediately it happens immediately. Like the buttons are always visible. There's no animation, there's no motion in there, so we avoid that. Hello, Marcio. Hello, good night. Good night to you. Draven says, do you use elements offset to calculate the scroll amount? No, we use this JavaScript native method called scroll into view. It's a native JavaScript thing. It's beautiful. JavaScript recently has been like amazingly powerful, because you don't need to do anything. Before it was, do you remember jQuery? You had to calculate the office and scroll into view, right? That now you have the element scroll into view, native JavaScript, and you can check. You have a bunch of options. You can determine the behavior if you want a smooth scrolling or auto scrolling. Auto scrolling simply just goes there. The smooth is just very smooth, and you can decide if the block is end, center, or start, or nearest. So when is the vertical alignment should start? Like you set the element, and then the vertical alignment, if it's the end, of course it goes to the bottom. If it goes to start, it goes to the top. Like that's where the offset is defined. And then block and inline, it defines the vertical and horizontal alignment. So you can also scroll horizontally if you have an element that it's outside or like overflowed outside the viewport area. But it's great, and the support is pretty good. Of course, Safari, no. Safari with its WebKit, it's amazing. So forget it on Safari, but we don't care because Thunderbird just runs on Firefox. So Firefox is fully compatible. Internet Explorer, no, but Internet Explorer should be dead and burn in a fire. Also, there's these super neat things that this is not standard, but scrolling to view if needed, because scrolling to view doesn't do anything if your element is already into the view, but still you call that code in order to scroll the viewport. So there's a little bit of CPU involved, there's a little bit of computation involved, and the browser pings your resourcer. The scrolling to view, if needed, is just to mitigate that type of things, but it's not standard. I think it's it's not even supported by Firefox, unfortunately. So yes, Draven says Safari is the new Internet Explorer. 100%. That's absolutely true. But yeah, this is the UI. This is the solution that we decided to adopt for the manual configuration in order to allow the users to have everything showing at once, incoming and outgoing server. All these are fully accessible both by the screen reader and keyboard. We use min-max values here. So if we set this to 0, we're going to have automatic HTML validation, and the button is disabled because, and we're going to have the tooltip, like, please select a value that is no less than 1, because when you set in the input field min and max value, automatically the HTML validation takes care of all these good stuff. So it's amazeballs. Yeah, and then it's time to continue this thing, because if you click done here and you finish the whole thing, automatically this page is closed, it goes to the main tab and it loads your emails and it shows everything. But we don't want to do that, because based on the Figma layout, Figma design that we're doing here, the Thunderbird UI, in the mockups section, this is the last page that we need to code. So when you finished your complete setup process, you should see this last page where we tell you, hey, the account was successfully created. We give you a quick recap of all your settings. So here you have the name that you define, the email, and then the protocol that you use. Some quick links, because those are really important for some users. Set up immediately your encryption, so download some dictionaries, add a signature, change the account settings. And also we have some new auto discovery in place for CarDAV and CalDAV, where we can ping your email address and check if there are some services connected, because it's pretty common to have an email account from Proton Email or Fastmail or Gmail, of course, or Outlook, that they come with a calendar, address book, or tasks, something integrated in their service. So instead of asking you to manually configure that and fetch the URL, we want to do it everything automatically. So if we detect this, we find it, you click configure, and automatically we import all the things for you. So good stuff. And then we need to implement these latest and greatest little icon here. But before doing that, the thing that I want to do is, as you can see here, there are some animations, right? Very, very simple animation, and it's very the change of layout and the update of layout is very sudden. It happens immediately, and that's something that we want to keep. So for example, if I'm writing an email address and the email address is correct, you can see here the get a new email address disappears, and then the configure manually appears. And this change, and also the button appears. This change it's okay, but we can make it slightly better. Like, wouldn't it be nice if this get new email address like disappeared underneath the email field, and these configure manually just fades in instead of appearing all of a sudden? And of course, if the user wants the reduce motion, we don't do that, but it would be way nicer. And these are not vital things. These are not extremely important things, but they help to ease out these the perception of these new element, because you're typing this thing and you're focusing on this area. Then all of a sudden you type something and this disappears, and this changes. It's a bit jarring. And you need to, maybe, like, if you're not used to these kind of things, you say, oh shit, why the UI changed? Like, did I miss something? What was written here was happening. But instead, if these like suddenly, like slowly and transitionally, like disappears underneath, it's more it's kind of like more intuitive and obvious that this link is related to the email address. So the email address, now that you wrote it, this link is not necessary anymore, so it disappears underneath. And the simple fading, like the more gradual, and instead of a sudden appearance, the simple gradual fading of this, it's less jarring, it's more inviting. So we want to implement that. Also, these, if you keep an eye on these little pictogram here, this little octopus, if we click continue here, you see it changes to a sloth, and then it changes to another thing. Also, those sudden changes, we can implement some little animation to make them less sudden, and it's good. And also you see here, we got an error, so we focus on the error message, we focus on the error fields, but it's a little bit too sudden, which is good because that's the default it should be. But if the user doesn't specify that wants the reduce motion, we should ease in this thing. So we're going to implement this right now. We're going to have fun with some JavaScript and CSS transitions, and I'm going to show you how to animate the hidden property. Because if you know a little bit of about CSS or JavaScript, you know that you cannot animate the hide or reveal the hidden or not hidden elements. If you remove the hidden attributes, it just appears. You cannot fade in with opacity, but you can trick it with an event listener in JavaScript, which is going to be super, super cool. So let's do it. iClone says, if you want to challenge yourself, optimize for Safari. Man, WebKit. WebKit, it's WebKit, it's not good. It is what it is. It's fine. Okay, let's create whoa, I already had this because I didn't want to write it. I don't have any bookmark here, right? Yeah, okay, let's create this bookmark. Now I'm inside this new bookmark, so I can start coding all the things that I want, all the things she said. Draman says, wouldn't it be nice to fix position of right panel with the icon while scrolling up and down? Yes, I was thinking that. That's you mean these, right? Boom, boom, boom. You mean this little icon here, for example, if we do boom. So if I scroll, these remain fixed at the center, so it's always at the center here. Yes, I was thinking that, especially because this area has some important links if something is broken and something doesn't work. So yeah, I want to do that. Before I couldn't do it because this was a weird mix of XUL and HTML, and it was on a top level HTML page, so it was kind of finicky. Now I spent a lot of time and converted everything in pure HTML, so we can pretty much do it. we can try. It's also responsive, so when you shrink it down to below a certain point, the image disappears because it's not necessary anymore, and it remains only the helper text there. We need to add a little bit of padding in the bottom here, because at that point, if you're using the screen like this, what do you want? First of all, why use it? But anyway, the image is just no, it's not necessary. But yeah, if you have the space, we fill up the space. So yeah, we can try to make it fixed at the center, or like maintain this ratio. Like when you scroll past a certain threshold, just this locks to the top and it scrolls with you. That would be nice. We can definitely do that. So hot. I'm sweating. Okay, so wait, what, Draman? You can make the left side 100% full height and overflow scroll, and right side 100% full. So actually right side is scrolls. Okay, I see what you're saying, but it's always better to avoid these kind of things, because these kind of things, they don't work very well with touch interfaces or like adaptive or scrollable, what is that, adaptive monitor, whatever. It's always better to have to leave the page as a regular page. You can see here we have to the right we have a scroll bar. This scroll bar is for the whole page, and this is just a pure HTML page. By doing that, we know that this page will scroll identically and will work identically no matter what operating system, platform, desktop environment, screen resolution, touch, non-touch, iPad. No, you cannot run Thunderbird on iPad, but if you have a tablet or a Windows laptop that it doubles as a tablet, this page will scroll normally no matter what device or environment or operating system you're using. If we start doing these kind of tricky things that this is scrollable but the page is not, some operating system, especially some old Linux distributions or old version of Windows, will have a massive scroll bar at the center because the overflow is not properly rendered. It just opens up to many more variables that we want to avoid as much as possible. That's why we're trying to be as basic as possible, if I can say that. We want to be basic. That's why we want to do pure HTML, pure CSS, pure JavaScript. So these can be used anywhere, and the final result is consistent anywhere. That's our goal. But yeah, I would have done that if it was sure to be compatible to everything else. Zoki just come to say hi. Hello, Zoki. Stick around, hang out, just check all the code that I'm doing. Okay, let's start coding a little bit. Come on, let's do something. So first of all, I want to create a transition between the helper images, to create a transition between these little images that we have to the right, fade transition, and we have the method that is called show helper. No, here show helper image. Yes, this is the method that takes care of showing and hiding the helper images. And now I'm doing pretty sketchy things. Basically, I'm doing a query selector all on all the article in the second column, because in the second column there's only articles, and the article, it's the container of the image, and then I'm hiding everything except the article that matches the ID that I want to show. And every ID is like step 1, step 2, step 3, so I know when to show it. Let's not do that. Let's change this. So first of all, we want to do this only if we don't have the reduced motion. But let's first do that. Yeah, okay, so let's do this only saying if G reduce motion. If this is true, we do this because this is the quickest way to immediately hide and reveal. We don't do any get document by ID. We don't do any add class, remove class, or set hidden, remove hidden, attribute, blah, blah, blah. We do a simple loop, and we know this is super fast. It's like less than milliseconds fast. It's just like it takes an instance. It's not noticeable because we have 4 articles in it, and this condition is just, yeah, stupid fast. So we want to do this, and we need to update the comment to reflect why we put this inside the condition of the reduced motion. So we can say that immediately update the UI by showing and hiding the necessary elements without any transition if the user requested reduced motion. This is very important. Writing comments before conditions and sections, it's very, very important because, yes, a lot of developers will tell you, you should be able to understand the code by just reading the code. You should be able to understand the reasoning behind that, but just read the code. Read the code. Yes, read the code 100%. But the comments are also important because I'm not in your brain, you're not in my brain, so it's easier to read a comment that explains why we're doing something. And it's good practice, especially in a massive collaborative environment like an open source project. It's very, very important. Okay, so now that we have these only for the reduced motion, now we can take care of, and here we do a big fat return, because here we're going to do something else. If the reduced motion is not set to true, it means that we want to have a nice cool animation. So let's implement these. Nice cool animation, handle a nice cross fade between steps, something like that. And as I was saying here, we are setting and removing the hidden attribute, and the hidden attribute in HTML simply hides the element. And as I said, the hidden attribute cannot be animated, so we need to trick the hidden attribute in order to enable it and disable it only after we did the animation. So our element should be visible, but with the opacity at 0. Then we do an opacity transition to reveal it, and then we reduce the opacity. And once the opacity is at 0, after the opacity is at 0, we set the hidden attribute. So we need to add an event listener that kicks in automatically when the opacity transition ends. And JavaScript has all these things out of the box. It's super cool. So first of all, let's get, let's store the element that we want to show. So let step to show, let's call it this way, whatever. A document get element by ID, and we're passing the ID here. So this is the step that we want to reveal, and I'm gonna show you step. Yeah, this is the second column, and every article has a step 1, step 2, step 3, and all these things, they have an image inside with whatever matches that step. So the octopus, the sloth, the form, what is it here? The connection error, something goes wrong. That's it. We have 4 steps, so pretty straightforward. So first of all, we store the step to show here, which one we want to do. Then we want to add a class. So the step to show, we want to add class list, add hide class. The hide class will set the initial properties of that article to opacity 0. Maybe we want to also animate the zoom effect, so we want to give it a scale. We can do it. So let's create this hide class here. We can go into the should be account setup.css in the shared, and we can go inside the second column image. What is it? Yeah, here, media query. We can put it here because it's the second column action or section. So here we can set, and all these CSS declarations, they don't need to exist at all unless the user doesn't specify any preference for the reduced motion. So we also can tap the reduced motion via a media query. Actually, it's primarily a media query. So we can use the prefers dash reduced dash motion and motion. Let's write it properly. And we say if this has no preference, then we can have our animations in CSS. If the prefers reduced motion, if I'm not wrong, we already declared it somewhere else. Yeah, we used it inside a lot. If this prefers reduced motion has no preferences, so it's not set preference. No, you guys should read what I'm typing so you can help me with typos. Okay, preference. Okay, this is correct. If it has no preference, it means that the user is okay with animation. So we can say that in the second column, every single article will have a transition of the opacity that it's going to be 300 milliseconds, so 0.3 seconds with an ease curve. And also the transform, we want to do transform 0.3 seconds and ease as well. So we can animate the opacity and we can animate the scale. Then we can say that the second column, all the articles that they have an hide class, the hide class that we want to add, will have an opacity of 0 and then a transform scale of 0.9. Let's set it like this. Okay. Now that we have this, let's go back to our JavaScript, because if you know a little bit about CSS, when we remove the hide class from an element, this opacity will automatically go back to 1 and the transfer is going to be set to scale 1. We don't need to write opacity 1. The default option or default attribute of an HTML element is always opacity 1. So it's good. It helps us to keep our CSS very limited and very contained. It's pretty neat. So here, the steps to show the get element by ID. So these, we know because of the way that we created our HTML and JavaScript, we know that these, the idea of this step, for example, step 1, step 2, always they start as being hidden. They start as a non-visible. So we can add this class hide and automatically this hidden file or this hidden HTML element will inherit an opacity 0 and transform scale. So we add these options and boom, they go there. Then after this, we need to store the step to hide. So step to hide, that it's gonna be the only article that is not hidden, because we know that only one article per time can be visible. So we can say document query selector, and we use query selector because automatically it just grabs the first one that matches our selector and we're good to go. Query selector, the second column, article not hidden, and the linter is angry at me, so we selecting only this one. And now we can set an event listener because am I doing it correctly? Yeah, I think so. Step to high, classless. Okay. Okay, so now we could do potentially step to hide, class list, add, hide. We do exactly the same thing, the step to show. But the step to hide basically starts transitioning these element that it's visible right now because this is the only article that is not hidden. We are transitioning for 300 milliseconds the opacity and the scale, so we're gonna have these opacity and scale. One thing that we have to do, we need to set something. We need to set an event listener that says, hey, after the hiding animation, after these opacity and transform ended this 300 milliseconds transition, we need to actually hide this thing. We need to set the hidden property, because otherwise it's going to be just visually hidden, but it's still there. So that the articles and the steps are going to stack one on top of another. We need to actually hide it. That's how we can use an event listener. And the event listener needs to be defined before we affect the classes. Otherwise, the event listener will not kick in time. So we can say the step to hide, we can add an event listener. And the event listener, JavaScript has this awesome event listener called transition end. Transition end is an event listener that kicks in when a CSS transition stops. The transition ends also passes an event that automatically comes with the name of the transition that just ended. So if you have multiple transitions in this, the opacity is transformed, you can transition whatever attribute, you can check which attribute transitioned. And you can have different outcomes based on different transitions that just happen in CSS, which is super duper handy. Right now, we don't care because we know this thing has only one transition. We are not dealing with multiple transitions, so we can set an arrow function, and we don't care about the event. It's gonna be it's gonna be super straightforward. But when the transition end, we can set that the step to hide, it's gonna have hidden set to true, because after the CSS opacity, boom, set to true. Then the step to show that it's right here will do the same, but the opposite. So when this is transition, when the opacity went to 0, we hide the step that we want to hide, and then we show the step that we want to show. But the step to show, if you remember, we added a class called hide. So the step to show right now, yes, is not hidden in HTML anymore, but it's still not visible in CSS because the opacity is set to 0. So we can remove the class hide, and by removing the hide class, we're going to cause the transition, the CSS transition, in the opposite direction. So we're going to reveal this. In order to do that, though, we need to set a timeout set to 0. Set timeout without any timeout basically waits for the operation above to complete before doing anything else. We do this because otherwise, if we do, for example, we need to do literally this, set to 0, remove. If we do this without a timeout, these two things, because JavaScript is stupid fast, will happen at exactly the same time. So we're not going to have the animation, because first we want to remove the hidden property in HTML, and then we want to show the transition. So this removal of a class needs to happen inside a set timeout without any timer. Without any timer, the set timeout will automatically kick in after this is set, which is perfect. Let's add some comments, because these might not be straightforward for a lot of people, for some people. So here we can say, why are we adding this class on the first place? Why don't we put it in the HTML directly? We don't, because we we don't want to start with a hidden. Thanks for the article. So add the class to let the revealing element start from a proper state, something like that. Then we can say request animation frame instead of set timeout. Oh, what is that? I'm not aware of that. Request animation frame. The window request animation frame methods tells the browser that you wish to perform an animation and requests that the browser calls a specific function to update an animation before the next repaint. The method takes a callback as an argument to be invoked before the repaint. Wait, what? How? What? How do you use this? Step. Timestamp. What? Stop the animation after 2 seconds. I don't sorry. Never used this. I've never used this. Request animation frame. I don't know. Interesting. I will check if these... I will experiment this. Thank you, Draman, for the suggestion. I never used this, so I don't know if be sure to always use the first argument. Your callback to routine must itself call request animation frame again if you want to animate another frame. It's a bit complicated and more efficient to set timeout. Let's see if we're using it in the source code already. Yes, we're using it. So the set timeout misses the time sometime, of course, if you set a timer. For example, if you set to like 100 milliseconds, or if you set just 1 second, just 1 millisecond. This is very sketchy to do because yes, sometimes it just misses that millisecond. It's just trash. Set timeout without any timer, it's pretty safe. It shouldn't cause any issue potentially, but I see that we're using these request animation frame. So we're using it in the tests, which is interesting. Where's the resolve here? Oh, we're just awaiting here. So we should... Make sure the layout select is focused with 2S. Okay, I will give it a try. For now, let's see if this works that way. But yeah, thanks for the suggestion, Draman. Step 2. Hi, Draman, are you looking for a job as a JavaScript developer? I'm not joking. We'll get back to that in 2 seconds. Let me finish this, and then we're gonna focus on something very, very interesting. What is that? What am I doing here? Transition and set timeout. Also, one very important thing that I forgot here. Thank God I checked. These has to happen only once. Because if it doesn't happen only once, and is my linter is gonna style this, if we don't set the once, these add event listener will stack on top of one another. So every time you transition from a step to another, we keep adding that same event listener, add and add and add on top. If we don't set once, these event listener, we're gonna stack on top of each other. So we're gonna trigger a million different transition ends. It's gonna be a nightmare. By saying once, it means that after this transition end run its curse, this event listener is automatically removed from the element. That's what we wanna do, and it's super efficient. So we avoid issue. So here inside these, we wanna set a comment here to say wanna remove the hidden attribute before triggering the CSS transition. And then here we need to specify set timeout to animate after the hidden attribute has been removed. Something like that. And then we got the step to class. So this should be good. Let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. Mac build. Ooh, coffee. Let's run this. Let's open up these. Okay, so pam 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 pam. Woo! Yay! Fail. 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 We got 1, 2, 3. Okay. We got a little problem here. So step to show, step to hide, document, article. Step to hide, event transition, step to hide is hidden, and step to show it's false. Timeout. Timeout. Step to show class list, remove hide. Step to hide class list, add hide. Add hide. So something, it's visible there and it shouldn't. It's probably is the set timeout. Let's see what we have here. The code seems correct. So this should be okay. So all these other elements are hidden, which is correct. So now if we do something like this, okay, continue. Okay, so step 2 and step 3 are visible because this is so fast that it triggers it before this is done, which is, it makes sense. So we're still doing the transition here, but we're revealing the step 3 before the transition it's done. So we need a check in place to be sure that transition is not, it's finished, because these should have a high class, and then the should add attribute hidden. Yeah, this should happen this way. So interesting, our Java, because if I do something like, yeah, if I do something like super sketchy like this, it's gonna take like a million years. And if I do retest, yeah. So if it takes a little bit longer, yeah, I think it's a set timeout, as you said, Draman. So yeah, we need to fix that. Okay, yeah, it's not a problem. Okay, before continuing though, little announcement. If you want, let me keep that open. If you want, go to thunderbird.net, scroll all the way to the bottom and click careers, and check that we have a bunch of open positions. You can auto apply and goes to the bottom. But if you're a JavaScript developer, if you like working with open source, if you know a little bit about C, C++, but it's not absolutely necessary, it's a plus. But if you also know about front-end, UI, and UX, those are also a plus. If you have a keen eye for whatever thing is just, I don't know what to say, but we're looking, we're hiring at Thunderbird. So if you want to work with me, hey, you want to join these live streamings and participate in this also? No, this is not a requirement. I'm not going to force anyone to join this live streaming. But if you're looking for a job, if you're a front-end developer, UX UI designer that knows a little bit about coding, and you like open source, you want to work on open source projects, you want to make Thunderbird the best email client ever, you want to update the UI, you want to change something, you want to join a fully remote group of people that work on open source, just apply. Please apply. We're looking to expand our team and to grow. and to hire more awesome people. Draman, so you should definitely check. Should definitely apply, please, Draman. But yeah, if anyone is interested, we're absolutely open to anyone. It's fully remote, so it doesn't matter where you are, what's your time zone. We have people from Central Europe, from New Zealand, Japan, from Canada, United States, from South America. South America, I don't know if you have something else from South America, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Like we are spread around the world. So Andrew, go to thunderbird.net. In the footer, there's a button, click career, and then at the bottom, it's how to apply. It's written here. If a position sounds like a good fit for you, please send your resume with a cover letter to jobs@thunderbird.net. In the subject of the email, please state the title of the position that you're applying for. Example, application for the Thunderbird software engineer position. Add a cover letter, your resume, and just send us your thing. So Lars asks, will you come back with Vala lesson one day, please? Yes, Lars, absolutely. I'm doing a lot of different things right now, so I'm a bit overwhelmed. So yeah. Draman says, I will consider since the project I'm working on is coming to an end. Oh, yay! Apply now. Apply now. I'll give you a recommendation if you apply. Just write in the cover. No, don't do it. Write in the cover letter. Alex told me to apply, so it's his fault. But yeah, just apply if you're a good fit. Especially like the important thing, and this is gonna be a little behind the curtain sneak peek thing. The important thing is if you have a GitHub repository or a GitHub account, or if you have any other experience with open source projects, that's a big plus. If you can share your code publicly, and if you can add your repositories to the cover letter or to your resume, that's very good. That's one of the good thing and important things that we wanna see. Someone that has experience with open source projects, or even not open source projects, someone that likes open source and has experience with just pushing code publicly. So yeah, Andrew, you're very welcome. Draman says you're a full stack, front, back, side, all position. Yeah, I was a full stack developer as well. Actually, before starting this, I was doing almost like DevOps engineer also. So yeah, it's good to have a full overview. So yeah. And also another thing, say that you use Thunderbird. We had some candidates that applied, and during the interview, they said, no, I don't like Thunderbird. I actually use Gmail. I think Gmail is the best. So that was a great interview. Yeah. Good stuff. Don't do that. Please don't do that. The technical director during the interview was like, sorry, what did you say? Okay. Oh, okay. It was not great. Okay, let's get back to code this thing. So you said, Draman, and you console log to see how many transition and even triggers. Yes, absolutely. Console log, console log, console log, log, console log, console log. Okay, so in transition hand, we can check log. And let's console log DAD. So we can check which show helper image ID was triggered. Right. Build. I don't think I needed a build, but whatever. It's stupid fast, so it's not a problem. Okay, let's give it a go. let's check this. Let's open our inspector. Let's access the console. Let's keep the console here inside the viewport of this beautiful screen. Oh, but it's gonna go. Well, I'm gonna put it back up. It's okay. Boom, boom, boom. Thunderbird.net. Continue. Okay, we got step 2 and step 3. So step 2 is this one, step 3 is this one. So step 2 is correct, but for whatever reason, step 2 is not hidden. Ooh, step 2 is called 6 times? What the actual what? Why? Step 1 is called 1 time. Okay, let's reset this. 6 times. Something sketchy. Oh, wait. I think I know what's happening. Yeah. I think I know what's happening. We need the event here. Because the transition end triggers at every single drama, you guessed it, right? Triggers at every single transition end. So here, since we're animating the opacity and the scale, it basically triggers twice, but I think it triggers also more times. So we need to check this. Are we using... Oh, what was that? Wow, what was that? Transition end, we're using the event here. Details listener. I'm checking if we are... Okay. So I don't remember. Let's print the entire event, but I don't remember the name. I think it's the like transition or something. The attribute of the event that holds the transition. So we can trigger it only on opacity. So that should do it, right? Boom, bam, okay, there you go. Transition and property name. There you go. Opacity, 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 opacity. Triggered 6 times for step 1. What the fuck? Why 6 times? Okay, this is okay. So it's, oof. Target. Step 1. Wow. Okay. Okay. Wait. There's something sketchy going on. Wow. Something sketchy going on here. So instead of doing this, let me do this. Where is this being called? Because if this is being called 6 times, this transition add events listener shouldn't run 6 times, especially because the transition is always the same. So if this is being called a million times, I want to see where this show helper image is being called. And if it's being called too many times, it's not gonna be nice. It's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be nice. Okay, yeah, called 6 times. Okay, it's called from account setup. On submit, on form submit, on click, on continue, find config, start loading state, show helper image, start loading state, start loading state, start find config, find config, find config. And then this is the last one to reveal. Okay. Yeah. Draman, no, it can't, because in the event, if you remember in the printing of the event, the element, the target element was always the same. And we know, like, I know that, I know it's a sketchy assumption, but these selector is unique of this page, and this page only has that type of selector. Also because these tabs are self-contained, you cannot leak into another tab. We know that the selection only happens in that tab. We're 100% sure about that. But this is the problem. I found the problem. By checking the console trace, basically we're calling these show helper image a million different times from the start loading, find config. So on continue, the account setup 514. Yeah, find config. On continue, we check the find config. That we go to we go to 530, which is here, which has start loading state, and in the start loading state we go to 763. Show helper image. So why the fuck this on submit happened 6 times? On submit happened 6 times. There's something sketchy in the code, which is good because it helped me identify that we are wait, what? Are we calling the same method? On form submit. On form submit. Ooh, I got it. I think I got it. So I think if I do this, yeah, Draman, you're right. I think you're right, because we got, if I do this, but if I do this, well, I have to reset this. Oh no, it's the same. But it's still 6 times, right? So I think we have no, this shouldn't happen. So if I do this as a test, if I remove on submit here, and everything it's and also let me remove this submit type, and everything is managed by the buttons. It means that we are not actually submitting the form. Yo, no, Mac build. Okay. I think we're onto something. I think we found something that will incrementally optimize our application. So if I hit Thunderbird.net, if I hit enter, nothing happens. Okay. And then if I click continue, it's the same. Event stop propagation. Where do you want me to put the event stop propagation? So the form submit is not affecting that. In the form submit or in the hello, Nicola. Good evening. Like before I even start watching. Thank you for the like, Nicola. It's very nice of you. In the form submit, the event stop propagation. I don't think we'll do anything because I removed the form submission entirely and the problem persists. The problem persists. Yeah, same here. So this is not... but... Okay. Why this is called 6 times? Why on click, continue, the continue button on continue? Why on continue, the find config? Okay, event stop propagation. Let's see if it's 6 times. So we got the stop propagation form submit. But that doesn't matter because on continue, I don't think it is. I don't think it's that. Okay, so continue. Bam, 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 bam. 6 times. Yeah, as usual. It's on click. This is trigger. On click, it goes on continue, and then the find config. And the find config is start loading pay. So it's on click 6 times. What the actual mother why on continue? Why this is... Wow, this is brutal. There's something very, very wrong with this. So let's strip things away. If we remove the submission of the form here on submit, so the form doesn't submit at all. And we can confirm it by saying install log. Clicking button is not stop propagation. Form. It's very unusual. So okay, we can send the event, and then on continue we get the event and event stop propagation. We can do this. It's very weird because I never had to do these kind of things. But as you said, JavaScript, it's funny. JavaScript is sketchy. So let's give it a try here. Now the form submit doesn't work. I'm pressing enter, nothing happens. So the form submit is disabled. Thunderbird.net. Continue. Click continue. It's the same. Yeah, 6 times. There's something sketchy here. We don't have this form console log, but yeah. Find config, the on click, it's triggered 6 times. What in heaven? And prevent default. We got some question here. I'm having trouble, Nicola, I'm having trouble with advanced object-oriented Java programming. No, I never did Java, sorry. Someone says, hey, I watched your WordPress plugin development series. Thank you for watching. That helped a lot from my recent project. Thank you, buddy. Keep it up, your great videos. Thank you so much, Saman. I'm very happy about it. Yeah, Draman, that's very weird. That's very, very weird. I think I know what might happen. So we have a thing in Firefox and consequentially in Thunderbird called electrolysis or E10S. Electrolysis basically creates a self-containerized threading or thread inside a tab. When we first adopted it, weird things were happening. Some sketchy things were happening. So there might be something going on here, which I don't fully understand, but yeah, 6 times on click. Wow. Okay, let's go to the basic. Let's go straight to the basics. Instead of doing these, let's say that instead of calling, so first of all here, let's continue. Let's remove these. Let's leave the form submit. Let's remove the event that we're not using. Instead of calling the find config, let's console log continue. Oh, continue. Actually, let's console trace this. Here, what do we have here? Okay. So on continue shouldn't do anything other than tracing, and on continue should just yeah, console log, man. Console log is the dream. Salmon. No, I'm not drawing these with JavaScript. This is all pure HTML. But I think it's it might be a problem of the tabs, because these tabs are created via JavaScript and then the content is loaded inside. So there might be something going on, something sketchy as hell. Okay, so I hit enter. And this is not correct. Okay, let's see. I press enter, so we got a form submit, and we got on click, submit, on form submit, it clicks and it calls it once. Then if I actually click on continue, I got this once. So it means that while it's loading, something else is happening. Okay, we're getting to the bottom of this. Okay, so the on continue is not the problem. The click or the form submit are not the problem, because if we prevent the find config method to run, we don't get the 6 fucking repeated things. So find config is the problem. And switch to mode, start loading state. Wow, find config, this method is woof. Okay. First of all, let's return this. And then we console trace this. Okay, we leave it like that. So we're early returning this, so we're not triggering anything. We're simply switching to the mode and starting the loading state. Switching to the mode, it means that all the input fields will be disabled, all the buttons will be disabled, and the start loading state will happen. It means that we are going to have a notification we should stop there. And actually the sloth image to appear. Volodymyr, yes, I'm on Linux, I'm on Pop OS. Yeah, Draman, that's always what happens, right? When, unfortunately, like, these things have been touched by hundreds of developers for 20 years. So sometimes even when you're building or adding something, you stumble upon some sketchy code that was there, no one even noticed. And only when you stumble upon these things and you start like seeing all this weirdness, you realize it's, oh shit, this is something very wrong here. So it's good that this thing happens. Continue. Okay, yeah, the console trace happened once, so we know, and the animation is correct. This is all disabled. This button, if I click stop, we get, of course, stopped. It's not defined because I interrupted the script to define the abortable. But we know that up until that point, the animation, transition, and event listener, everything works. The console trace, it's only called once, which is good. Okay, so now we can continue. Priority abortable. These aborts self guest config try at a call start loading state. Ooh. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. I got it. I found the issue. So, and this is an issue of the old approach, because I can show you. If we do an account setup here, and I do something like very, very wrong, like here you can see, I don't know if I... Well, I don't know if you notice, it's very fast, but... You see there's the list of all the things that are happening. Well, you got the idea. There's a list of all the things that are happening. So that list, it's basically every time we check for something, we get a call, we fetch the config, we update the message. But the start loading states is actually the culprit here, because it means that the start loading state inside these things start loading state, we're showing the helper image 6 times. So found the issue. Motherfucker. Found the issue. Okay, so this is good. So instead of starting the loading state, we should update the loading state and show the helper image only if... Oh! If step to show if we constantly ask for the same step to show, so in our case step 2, we were calling it 6 times, if it's not hidden, it means that it's already visible and we don't need to do anything. So mother F. Mac build. Oh, fuck! I thought that would have worked. Oh, god damn it. No, that's not. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. We are getting close to it. Let's add it here. The step to show log stop and then log run. So we should have 2 runs and 6 stops potentially. Potentially. Wait, did I remove the return in the find config? I think I did. Otherwise wouldn't. Yeah, remove the return. Okay. Okay. We found the issue. Now it's a matter of finding an optimal solution. But this is good. This is good. This is good investigation. Continue. Okay. We got 1 run 6 times. Not good. Not good. Shit. So something is happening. Yeah, 6 runs. So we're not stopping. His step to show is not hidden. Step to show document. Okay, so we cannot do this, but we need to update that thing. So is start loading state. Start loading state shouldn't happen in this case. Test manual config. So a rule that we should have is that the start loading state shouldn't be called multiple times in the same method, like we do here. The start loading state is called 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Yeah. Why we're doing this? This is silly. Okay, instead of start loading state, update loading state. Because here, literally, what we're doing, we're simply updating the font, updating the text of the notification. That's the only thing that we're doing here. We don't need to trigger another show helper method. We don't need to trigger anything else. So yes, yeah. I'm saying start loading state here. So we don't need to do anything of this because we already, yeah, like keep starting the loading state. We keep disabling the inputs even if they're still disabled. We keep showing the helper image even if the image is still visible. It's already visible. No. So we need to do this. Sync, update loading state. And we need to do exactly the same. String name. Yeah, let's do this. Comma. And we need to call this notification, if notification, make sure visible. Boom. Update the message only if a notification already exists. Yeah, that's what we needed. Update the text of a currently visible loading notification. The name of the fluent string that needs to be attached to the notification. Okay, that's literally the only thing that we needed to do in order to avoid triggering that thing 6 times, right? So if I do show helper image and I do my overly trusted console trace and I build this thing, bam. Okay, finger crossed. Cross your fingers in the chat. Boom, boom, bam, 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 bam. Alrighty. Console trace is called once and twice. Perfect. Okay. First thing first. Yeah, the auto config is messed up. Whatever. I don't care. Console trace, we're showing helper image once, and then we show the other helper image twice. And now we have the error file not found is just 6, but we can retry once again if we want. Just to be sure. Console trace, show helper image. Okay, that's called just one. Beautiful, beautiful. We fix multiple calls. Okay. Yes, console trace, call once, console trace called once. Okay, perfect. So now we need to fix the fact that the autoconfig is so fast that is happening before the revealing of, or before the end of the hiding of the thing. So is the removing of the hidden. Yeah, I can do that. It's fine. It's doable. Okay, I gotta go. But we found good things. We found that this find config method was calling the same method 6 times, and it was totally unnecessary because here we just need to update one string instead of triggering the same update of things. So doom. So yeah, that was good stuff. That was good stuff. Thank you, Draman, for your help. Oh, you guys kept writing. Yeah, Draman, we found our 6 enemies. Yeah. Oh, Avery's, hello. Yes, you're a bit late, but it's fine. It's fine. Oh, there's an helicopter that is passing up. I don't know if you can hear it. No, luckily not, because I have a good compression here. Okay. Nicola, Draman said you could also set timeout and clear timeout. Set timeout to 0. Yeah, I can try. I'll try that later. I want to also try that one that you suggested. What was that? The request animation frame. Yeah, I want to try that one. So I will experiment that to be sure that that section is not interrupted when necessary. Nicola asks, to Draman, do you mind giving me advice for finding a job? Currently, I am finishing first year of computer science and IT university. Math is kind of a problem, but nothing unsolved. And Draman says, suggest that contribute to open source project and you will improve, have a better idea. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so as usual, if you like it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share the hell out of this video. If you're a JavaScript developer, you're a junior developer, senior developer, it doesn't matter. Just apply to Thunderbird if you're looking for a job. So give it a go. If you want to work with me, it's going to be awesome. We can fix these problems together. But anyway, thank you also for watching this video, for participating into the live streaming. And yes, as usual, until the next one, happy coding. Bye.